So if there's one thing I've learned in business and e-commerce, it pays to be simple and keep the customer at the center. So it's all about customer experience. Make it really, really easy for the customer to meet you where you are and engage with you and buy from you.
Welcome to the Customer Commerce Podcast, where technology's fast and biz is a blast.
In life and in business, time is precious. It's why customers stay or leave and why businesses succeed or fail. We're here to give a voice to everything that makes business, whether as a customer or as a CEO, easier and more rewarding. Welcome to the Customer Commerce Podcast. Let's dive in. Welcome, ladies and gents, to episode 27 of the Customer Commerce Podcast. I am delighted to welcome another guest and a personal favorite of Store Connect, Jo Swadling. She is the managing director and founder of Swan Technology Solutions, a Melbourne-based Salesforce and Store Connect implementation partner that specializes in providing technology solutions for businesses of all sizes. She's got over 15 years of experience in the technology industry, where her expertise lies in helping businesses implement innovative solutions that improve efficiency, reduce costs, and increase revenue, which we love. Her clients consistently rave about her, as we do. And when she's not working, she enjoys crafting, reading, and spending time with her family. Hello, Jo.
Hi, Jess. How are you? I sound so wonderful when you say all that.
I'm
pretty
just
awesome.
speaking the truth.
Crafting. What do you craft?
A little bit of everything. So knitting, crochet, quilting. Yes.
It's becoming a bit of a niche lost art, isn't it?
Or maybe
Which
I'm
is
just
sad, I think.
internally I'm a nana and I need to craft. Yeah.
I have to
It's
say
like
that
a basic design.
I reckon when you turn 30, well, I'm just saying this as a female, I think it does something. You tend to become part of the nana crew, even though it's still a young age. I'm starting to get interested in veggie gardens and like the little, the big knitting. I don't know what it's called, but it's like giant thread. And it's like,
Yes. It's like big
giant
chunky knits. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's not my, I go really tiny, but I avoid socks. Socks.
Socks? No. My grandmother on my mother's side crocheted, but like we're talking super fine cotton thread doilies with incredibly intricate patterns.
Yes. My mother.
That is a lost art.
How do you even keep track? How do you
No.
Oh my gosh. It's incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I have done, but I'm not good at that. So yeah.
It requires a lot of I think you have to do it full time. A lot of just sitting on the couch and
many hours.
Attention
to detail. Yes. Yeah.
Well, Jo, it's so great to have you here. And I've got some questions. I mean, your forte is around so many different things that e-commerce businesses can really benefit from. And we're kind of delving into the tech world. And I feel like Mikel will definitely ask some questions. I have a big question to start off because that's my thing.
Is it going to be like a sentence and a half of a question, Jess? We firebombed a guest about 2 weeks ago with a question that was just mind-blowing, and we're like, whoa. And Jess came out with this amazing question. It was just like full on at the start of the conversation.
Well, I guess, to simplify this question, I guess I want to say, like, in the e-commerce world, what are you finding when businesses come to you? What is the thing that they're struggling with?
A lot of businesses just overall, they overcomplicate things. So it's our sort of ethos internally at Swan is trying to keep it simple for all of our customers. So it's keeping it simple for them, maintaining things and managing their systems, but B, keeping it simple for their clients. It just naturally, if they're easy to deal with, then clients come back and they like that experience, and it's really easy to do business with them. So I think our main influence is keep it simple. So keep that customer experience front of mind, understand how people want to engage with you and be there where they want to engage with you. Yeah.
That's interesting because you do a lot of obviously Salesforce work, right?
Yeah.
And a common complaint from a user point of view with Salesforce is it's really complex, right? Which I've always thought is, well, it's complex because you went and bought a bag of Lego and you haven't built anything yet. You've just got this bag of Lego sitting on the floor, and every night you walk through it and you step on it and you start screaming. So how do you bring simplicity to the user experience of the staff member in Salesforce? Like, that almost seems like a contradiction in terms.
Yeah, it does sound that way, and it's not easy. And I think that's the thing that, people want that simplicity, but they don't understand what goes into that. But I've got some younger members of my team and more experienced members of my team, and I always, when we're talking to the younger guys, it's always think about what these guys are doing. Do they want to do 100 clicks? Absolutely not. So how do we make that simpler for them? What is, the fastest way to get to the endpoint?
Mm-hmm.
And starting with the endpoint is often the way to go as well. So what is the output I want to get out of this exercise, and returning to that all the time? So is this going to get us what we're trying to get in the end? Are we, we're trying to be more efficient taking leads. We're trying to be attract more people to our website, make it easier for them to engage, to take an order, whatever the thing is. It's what is that experience, and always coming back to, is this change going to actually improve this process for them? So always asking that question is really pivotal to what we do. Yeah.
But how does, like, when you're implementing a business process, I know I'm guilty of this. I start thinking of the 1001 edge cases, right? This is the flow, but what happens if at step 3 they need the blah? Okay, now do we need to build all that out? How do you work out as a business owner or a technology consultant? Because every time you do that, you're going to be adding complexity to the process, right? There's more training, there's more decision points along that line for something that might only get used, twice a month or something. So how do you convey that or work that out with the business owner to go, well, look, yeah, Joe, you could build the decision tree from hell in Salesforce and we could have it do absolutely everything automated, but that's going to make a very complex process. So how do you get them thinking about that to perhaps not implement edge case number 227?
So a lot of the reason is why and how often. So we always sort of ask that first. Why are we doing it that way? What outcome is that giving us? And then how often does that happen? So if we can quantify that, bring that back and say, really that happens, once a month, if that, well, we can manage that in a manual way, but still gain the efficiency with the 90% of cases. So it's about where you spend your money, because 9 times out of 10, that edge case that you're talking about is something that's going to be really quite labor intensive to build out. So are you getting a return on all that effort? And sometimes you find that edge case becomes more prevalent over time, and then you can absolutely revisit it and come back and tweak your process. But starting with core and keeping that, what's the main outcome we want here, keeping along the happy path, is key to keeping it simple, but key to getting success and quickly getting up and running. And I think the quickly thing is where a lot of people lose out with Salesforce. They spend so much time making things complex, they don't get any use out of it. Like, it's really frustrating. I've heard some horror stories. I really have. Yeah. And I'm sure you have too, Michael. Like, It's
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
And of course, once you've automated something, it's harder to unautomate it.
Precisely. Yes.
Or to change it, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this I was thinking about this last week, and I sort of came up with two. There really only is two reasons to automate something from my point of view, and the first one is it's a process that's always done the same way and chews up a lot of time in the manual process, and it doesn't vary, right? That's option one.
Mm.
And the second option, like, it's just that first one's just going to save you a lot of staff hours, right?
Yes.
And the second option is if it's infrequent, or if it is infrequent, the only reason you would automate it is if doing it wrong is going to cost you a lot of money, because then the automation can act sort of as guardrails to, well, no, we need that little checkbox here, otherwise we can't do blah, like think a complex approval process where getting it wrong might put the company at liability
Yes.
to an external organization.
Yes.
And anything else, like anything in between those two, just is a waste of money if you're automating it too early.
Yes. And I think the types of clients that we're currently dealing with, they're on the smaller side of the spectrum, and really it's important to start using the tools that they've got instead of just fluffing around the edges. So we want to get them up and running on Store Connect. We want to get them using Salesforce. We want to get them using their ERP packages and those sorts of things, so that they can run their business and start doing their business, serving their customers.
The girl that I was just on a call before, she's a client of ours, and she just joined the team. This is for an educational organization. She just joined the team in January, and she's doing the academy training and the Salesforce training as well. And she's just realizing like how much time and like other platforms she can get rid of because of Salesforce and Store Connect. And she's like, I haven't even asked the questions, but I'm excited to ask the questions to Store Connect and find out through Salesforce that this thing that we've been paying for over here can go away and that's already causing, so much more effort and time and admin, and just use Salesforce. Like, she's like, I know annoyingly that we haven't even scratched the surface, just because there hasn't been a team member that's been willing to just sit and just learn for a little bit and then start kind of confronting that. And then once you do, like, she's already having these skills. She's like, great, let's get to it. And, very cool to see their kind of the
evolution.
What do I say? Like, yeah. And they come right up and they're like excited about the business again,
Yes.
Is there any real life examples that you have seeing, a client before come to you and then putting those simplicities in place?
Yes.
And the outcome of that?
Yes.
To someone that stands out?
Actually, a combined client of ours, my good friends at the wine community, my goodness, they started, when I first met them, it was all paper-based. They had, the old Rolodex, that, yes. And the green screen AS400 ERP, and it was like going back 20 years, honest to God, it was just freaky scary. And so they're now completely on the Salesforce platform from lead to ledger. So end to end, they're 100% on the Salesforce platform. Even their marketing, I think the only integration per se that they've got is with their third-party logistics organization. So everything is on the platform. And I think for them, it has been an evolution over time. So they started with Salesforce, then they've got their ERP on the platform, then their marketing, and the biggest puzzle piece in the last 6 to 12 months has been Store Connect, and we're building that out a little bit at a time for them. So they've started with, because they've from the very beginning when we started working with them, they've wanted to have some sort of subscription option or offer to their clients, and it was just too hard everywhere. Really, just everything was too hard. And I was actually told about Store Connect from one of the Salesforce account execs I've been working with for a while, and they went, "Have you seen this?" And I went, "Oh no." I looked at it, it had everything we wanted for the wine community. It was like, yes.
We didn't pay her to say that, by the way.
No, I didn't. Like, honest to God, I hadn't talked to Michael previously. I hadn't talked to anyone at Store Connect, but I looked at everything on your website and went, tick, yes, we could do tick, loyalty, subscriptions, point of sale. Oh my God, point of sale is going to be revolutionary for the wine community. I think that is our future step, because they do in-person events and all of this sort of thing where they sell to people at wine tastings and all of that sort of thing. So I just can't
having all of that in one system.
Exactly. It's like revolutionary. Yeah.
One of my favorite questions to ask clients is, how many single sources of truth do you have?
Yes. Yes.
They get into this ball of mess. They keep adding the next sort of industry standard
thing
app. Yeah. And they end up paying humans to get computers to talk to computers. And
I know
that doesn't scale. It's great if you're doing under $1 million a year, but once you start growing, you're now in this really awkward situation of, well, how many staff do I have to throw at making sure the point of sale system updates that ERP, which lets our website know the item's out of stock.
Yeah.
It quickly becomes untenable. And every additional system you add, you basically are adding another 5 synchronization connections, right? So, or however many you've currently got, multiplied again, because you have to have that talking to everything. It's a really interesting
contact, the pricing, products.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for both of you then, because I'm sure businesses come to you both for kind of different things, slightly different things. But a lot of businesses, obviously cost is a massive factor. And what do you think are, I guess, the hidden risks of going for the cheaper option, which may not be Swan Technology or Store Connect, while Store Connect is very affordable, but in terms of what they need, I'm just going to plug that, compared to a monthly sign up to Shopify, the basic plan, obviously that is more quote unquote affordable or cheap. What are the hidden risks with choosing something that's like, cool, that's cheap, it kind of does what we need, as opposed to having a proper consultation, going back and forth, a little bit of time involved in that, then investing a little bit more money than you would with the, one-off. What risks are involved in that in the long term?
I don't know about you, Michael, but I find that it's the ability to scale. So you start with that solution that fits you right now, but it doesn't fit you in 12 months or 18 months, and you have to do it all over again, or put band-aids on band-aids on band-aids on band-aids to deliver your services or your products and services. So you are losing by taking the time to, in complex processes, to connect the dots, and sticky tape and chewing gum is what I sort of refer to it as, to be the human glue between all these different things. And then you have to redo it from scratch anyway. So you are spending all that money that you spent the first time around to redo it all over again. And it's just...
So it's actually not the cheaper option.
It is absolutely not the cheaper option. It's like buying the cheap pair of shoes. Instead, you buy the cheap pair of shoes and you just find in, a couple of months they've got a hole in them. And if you've got to buy, 10 pairs of shoes in 1 year instead of having one good pair of shoes for the whole year.
Yeah, I mean, our good friends at Beyond Plumbing are our poster child of this. they formed their business. 3 plumbers got together and formed their business. And the first purchases they made were Salesforce Store Connect and Google Apps, plus an on-platform ERP called Now.
Mhm.
And that's with no revenue, right? So like zero. They literally formed their company, and within 3 weeks, they were the first purchases they'd made. And yeah, it took a bit more work to get it up and running, but they've been going for a couple of years now, and they, per his words, he's never going to have to re-platform.
Yes.
They could go through incredible growth and it will just work. That he said to me one day, the time you don't want to be re-platforming is when you're experiencing massive growth and your current systems fall over, right?
100%.
You don't want to find out
100%.
the wheel's not secured to the car when you're going around the corner at 100 kilometers an hour. You want to fix this early, and that's where he's gotten a lot of benefit out of it as the team.
Yeah, and they've just 3x their space. They've got this giant.
Yeah, they just opened a new warehouse. Right? Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, I've got one last question. I feel like this is a bit out of my realm. So, Michael, maybe you want to help me with this. Just being honest, I could edit this out to make me sound like I actually know what I'm talking about.
No, real here.
No, this one's staying in, Jess. So.
Yeah. Fine. Even though I'm the editor.
Yes.
So, this question is, having worked with businesses of all sizes at every end of the spectrum, those still using spreadsheets like I guess Wine Community was, and invested in ERPs, what recurring mistakes or headaches have you observed during those digital transformation journeys? And what advice would you offer to avoid those pitfalls and while still maximizing ROIs on their tech investments?
I'll leave that to you, Jo.
I think that it comes back to what we've just discussed, right? Is keeping it simple and that ability to scale. That doesn't mean you have to do it all right now. But if you have that tool set at the beginning, it scales with you and you can do those next things. So using the Wine Community as an example, they didn't do everything at once. They did CRM and ERP together, and then they did their marketing, and then they did their e-com, and it's all coming together in one cohesive unit. So it's you prioritizing and making sure that you bring everything back to that original reason why we're doing this. This is why we're doing it, and you prioritize things. That doesn't mean you never get to the other things. And I don't know how many people, they do a project and there's always a phase 2 list, and then they never do the phase 2 list. They get too caught up in the BAU. But if you're really practical about it, it's that. So you've got to get that core right, and then doing the polishing. Yeah.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and pick those things that are going to get you the biggest bang for buck.
Exactly.
If you've got 4 staff doing nothing but trying to keep 20 different websites running, maybe that's a good place to start, because you could reduce that down to 1 person part-time, like we did for BPM Childcare or BPM Australia. And then those other 3 can be on marketing activities or further outreach or something that's going to generate money for you,
Yes.
And I think I think Jo's spot on. You got to pick a project that can be defined and limited in scope, that you can get to the end of and call it done, and have a result at the end of that everyone can go, okay, good, we've taken a bit of a win here. We got step 1 finished, right? Okay, good. Now what's step 2?
Yes.
But if you pick a scope, which is we want to automate our business, well, you're going to lose. You won't succeed on that.
100%.
Like you might eventually, but you're going to have so many losses on the way and so many overruns that you're going to have to be a saint to get through that.
Project fatigue, and everyone's tired of change, and all of those things come into it as well. It's like hard work to keep doing projects and projects and projects.
Yeah.
So yes, I 100% agree. But it's trying to keep to that core, and that gives you success. So something that you can say, we want this thing and this is how we're going to measure it, and tick, we did that. Look at that.
Yeah, that's right.
Have a party.
Yeah, exactly. Champagne.
Have a bell that you just like ding every time.
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, that's a nice segue to end off the episode. I have one last question, which is the $1 million question. As an e-commerce implementation expert, what's the one actionable strategy that you think could have the biggest impact on an e-commerce brand right now?
So if there's one thing I've learned in business and e-commerce is that it pays to be simple and keep the customer at the center. So it's all about customer experience. Make it really, really easy for the customer to meet you where you are and engage with you and buy from you. If that is really easy, then you'll find that everything else flows from that. So being easy to engage with, that wonderful customer service, all of that sort of stuff is really key. So that's
why we have you on the Customer Commerce podcast.
Exactly.
That's why we have you as a partner. I love that. Is there anything else either of you want to add?
All good.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank you
happy.
very much, Jo. That was great.
That's
Thank you.
beautiful, Jo.
Thanks for inviting me
so much.
too. Thank you.
You're absolutely
worries.
welcome. We'll have
Absolutely.
to have you on again.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, listeners. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you had an awesome time, leaving you with ideas on how to improve your business and wow customers. If you'd like to leave a real customer's story, head to the link in our show notes and cuss away. Love the show? Please subscribe and leave a review, because that enables us to help more businesses in building real relationships with customers and grow more rapidly. See you next time.